Have you ever observed that for most of the day, our mind is actually not fully present in peaceful ease where the body is? The body may be sitting still on a chair, driving on the road, or working in front of a screen, yet at the same time the mind quietly drifts back to old memories, unfinished stories, or drifts forward into the future with worries, plans, and anxieties that have not yet happened. They arise silently in broken sequences, one layer overlapping another, forming a continuous stream that carries the mind very far, almost without our awareness. Hello, my name is Tang from Lotuszentan meditation channel, and this video shares experiences of practicing mental focus when the mind is scattered, guiding it toward greater peace. We find a quiet place, sit down, close our eyes, focus our attention on the in and out breath, and observe the functioning of this body and mind. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fill your chest and reach down through your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. As mindfulness begins to arise, we notice that at times a subtle sense of fatigue is quietly growing inside. Not exactly physical tiredness, but a very deep exhaustion of the mind. It is the feeling when, even though we sit still in a quiet room, inside there is noise made of thoughts, memories, and inner dialogues that never seem to end. Or when you lie down to sleep, hoping to let go of a long day, yet the mind does not allow it, continuously pulling you from one story to another, making sleep shallow and restless. Although the outside feels calm, inside there still exists a vague uneasiness hard to name, yet very real. This is because the mind has become accustomed to clinging to something in order to exist, even if that object is only a thought, a memory, or a feeling. We still go to work, still converse, still fulfill our responsibilities, but deep inside, we are living in a prolonged, parallel world of distraction that we ourselves hardly recognize. At times, we sense that the mind is stimulated both externally and internally by images, sounds, information, new emotions, and long repeated habits of thinking. And this continuous distraction, when not recognized and transformed, gradually causes us to lose the ability to be fully and peacefully present, to lose our natural sense of ease, and to lose a deep connection with the life that is unfolding right here in this body. So is there a way for the mind to truly rest? Most of us have tried many ways to relax, such as listening to music, seeking entertainment, traveling, or even sleeping more. Shifting the mind to another object may temporarily reduce the pressures, but to truly address the root, a different approach is needed, because the problem is not that we lack activity, but that the mind has never been accustomed to returning to a point of support that is simple enough and close enough to dwell in. On the path of practice and inner observation, we realize that when the mind has too many places to cling to, it becomes scattered, weak, and tired. But simply by attending to the breath, the mind gathers itself and rests. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Feel your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. Just a single moment like this, when attention is gently placed on the breath, you may begin to notice something very subtle, that in the moment the mind is truly with the breath. It cannot simultaneously chase other thoughts, not because thoughts are suppressed or pushed away, but because the mind now has a place to stay since at one moment. We cannot do many things at once. When attention rests on the breath, the mind no longer jumps everywhere. If you are patient enough to stay with the breath for a while, you will begin to feel that continuous attention has the ability to calm inner fluctuations that once seemed uncontrollable. Thoughts may still arise, but they no longer carry you far away as before, because the mind has learned to return to the breath again and again. You return to the breath as a very close, very real, very alive, and peaceful refuge. You do not need to strive or struggle. An inner space of quiet begins to open, not emptiness, but the full presence of ease. It is another way of existing without running, without clinging, without resisting, yet still feeling safe and happy. As you attend to the breath and observe body and mind, you begin to notice that the mind becomes less scattered and your attention no longer slips away as quickly as before practicing meditation. At first, this concentration is very fragile. Just one familiar thought can sweep you away. But if you relax effort and expectation and gently recognize and return to the breath, each return becomes a moment of training for the mind. What matters is your willingness to return to the breath again and again, because this repeated returning gradually changes habits and allows concentration to become continuous. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Feel your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. Meditation is not about stopping our thoughts, but about knowing what we are thinking and orienting the mind toward what is wholesome and peaceful, because thoughts themselves are not the problem. The problem arises only when we unconsciously chase thoughts and let them pull us toward unwholesome directly. The mind at this point is like standing on the bank of a river, seeing the water flow and leaves drips by, yet no longer jumping into the current to be swept away. As attention becomes more stable, you will sense that both body and mind are resting at the same time, even while you remain fully awake. The breath becomes lighter, the body less tense, and a very subtle ease appears in the mind, not explosive or stimulating, but enough for you to recognize that you are in a different state from the familiar distraction of before. This gentle ease is a sign that the mind is stabilizing, not as a lofty meditative absorption, but as an initial dwelling, where the mind is no longer continuously pulled by external objects. Clinging to this pleasantness is not important. What matters is continuing to stay with the breath with soft and steady attention, allowing this ease to exist or to come and go naturally. When you do not chase after joy, but simply continue to dwell, the mind gradually learns something very deep, that peace does not need to be grasped, because it is precisely non-grasping that allows it to become clear and lasting. From here, a new doorway begins to open, where concentration is no longer just focus, but becomes a supportive space in which the mind can observe itself more clearly, more gently, and more honestly. When attention can stay with the breath in relatively stable way, and the mind becomes familiar with that gentle state of dwelling. This is the gradual fading of familiar impulses, the tendencies to chase after a sensation, a thought, or some object in order to find satisfaction. When the mind is settled, it no longer needs to constantly search for something to cling to, just as when you are already sitting calmly in a space that feels safe enough. You no longer need to stand up and look for another place. When dwelling becomes sufficiently steady, previous craving naturally weaken, not because you are trying to eliminate them, but because the mind is being nourished by another kind of fullness, deeper and more peaceful. As the driving urges quiet down, a very different kind of joy begins to appear, not explosive, not stimulating, but gently spreading, deeply permitting and nourishing in nature. This joy does not come from satisfying any desire, nor from achieving something, but simply arises because the mind is no longer stretched tight by continuous seeking. However, this joy is not the final goal of meditation, nor is it something to be grasped, because the moment you want to hold on to it, prolong it, or bring it back, the mind will waver and begin to crave when it is absent. You simply recognize that when the mind is no longer driven by urges, joy can naturally arise and naturally fade, leaving only a simple dwell in mindfulness. And when the mind touches that balance, it gains the ability to look more deeply into itself, unobscured by desire or reaction, opening the condition for wisdom to arise in a very gentle and truthful way. When you have become familiar with meditation practice by returning to the breath and dwelling in soft attention, you will begin to notice that the ability to pause does not only appear when you intentionally meditate, but can also arise right in the midst of daily activities, such as when you are walking, washing dishes, or sitting in a difficult conversation. There are moments in the middle of a busy day when you suddenly realize that your mind is starting to tense up. Thoughts are moving faster, emotions are rising higher, and instead of being swept away as before, you can pause for a very brief moment simply to feel one breath coming in and one breath going out. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Feel your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking, which just such a moment. The familiar change of reactions is interrupted, not by control, but by presence, and it is this presence that allows you to respond to the situation with greater clarity and calm. In communication, when concentration is present to a certain degree, you will notice that you no longer need to rush to say something just to defend an ego or react to an emotions that had just arisen, because between emotions and actions there appears a small but very previous space. That space is where you can clearly see the emotion that is present, clearly see the thoughts that is forming without having to become them. And from there, your words and actions begin to carry a different quality, slower, more truthful, and less harmful. In work or study, concentration helps mental energy not leak away through constant disturbances, allowing you to stay with one task longer and more deeply without forcing yourself, because the mind no longer needs to continuously look for an escape from discomfort. Even when facing difficult emotions such as anxiety, sadness, or disappointment, concentration does not make those emotions disappear immediately, but it gives you the ability to be with them without being submerged, like standing firmly on the shore and watching the waves rise and fall instead of being swept out to sea. Gradually, you will realize that peace is no longer something that appears only in special moments of meditation, but becomes a gentle background behind our experiences, whether those experiences are pleasant or unpleasant. And when concentration lives in this way, in very ordinary and very real situations, it is no longer a practice separate from life, but becomes a way of living, where you can stay with the present, with yourself, and with the world around you with both steadiness and softness at the same time. In the end, meditation is not a journey to seek some special state, but a very simple process of bringing a scattered mind back to full presence in the present moment. When the breath is known, attention is gathered, and the mind is allowed to stop in the right place. Peace naturally arises without seeking. Each small moment of mindfulness like this, when nurtured consistently, will gradually become a solid refuge for body and mind amid a life full of change. The journey in the game of the breath will become more and more fascinating if you truly cherish it. This practice, just like a habit, is a key to unlocking every doorway within your body and mind. So keep watching and keep practicing with me in this video and the ones to come. If you have any thoughts or reflections, feel free to leave a comment below. And if this video have or inspire you, please click like, subscribe, and share it with others. Thank you.